shit ain't cool. And guess what? Everyone's racist until you put pads on and you start getting lit the fuck up in practice. Then all of a sudden you're not so racist, are you? And if you are, you're going to think twice about it. So, yeah. Fuck that kid.
All right, so you want to take us out first?
Sure. Also, Mississippi State running back Kylin Hill said to change the state flag or he's not representing them anymore. I would just transfer, bro. Because don't waste your time. There's plenty of other places you can play outside of Mississippi State. And the fact that so many people came out and said that he should just go to, like, he should just shut up because when he wanted to play there coming out of high school wasn't an issue, then you're missing the point. And also, Brett Favre said that Kaepernick is going to be remembered as a hero like Pat Tillman, which he should be. And Malcolm Jenkins also said that the NFL, until they apologize to Kaep, nothing they do really means anything. Also, and I'm going to wrap it up, I said on my IG story that I wanted to reach out to Polynesian players or coaches, ex-athletes, whatever, because I feel like the Polynesian community, in football at least, we see them, living themselves. We see them, represent their culture proudly. But I can't remember the last time I saw a Polynesian dude, as a color commentator on a game when I'm watching college football. Even when I'm watching BYU or Utah or any Pac-12 schools with a bunch of Polynesian, kids on their team, young men on their team, I don't see that. Like, unless they become coaches or whatever, I don't see a lot of Polynesian guys, in some of those positions to where they're out there color commentating a game, which I should be seeing. Because some of these programs, like I said, they live and die on getting recruits out of Hawaii. Some of the best players in Hawaii don't even stay in Hawaii. I mean, some of them, they want to leave and go see other things. I understand that. But some of the best players are poached by all these programs. But where is that? Like, why do we not speak on the Polynesian presence in football more and how vital they are? And how, like, the same way I can go up here and talk about black players and what they're owed and deserved, like, we don't really talk about a lot of Polynesian players. We don't talk about Tongan Samoans, everybody else. Like, we see them, but I feel like their story doesn't get told. It's just, okay, let me get some video of some cats doing the haka, them wearing colorful clothing and leis and stuff like that. And it's more than that. Like, some of these cats are, like, super serious in their faith and their religion and everything. And I feel like I want to have a community conversation with some, Polynesian either coaches, ex-athlete, ex-players, whatever. I want them to come on here and talk. Like, I want to hear their story. Because I feel like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Definitely just you.
I don't know. I feel like we see and, like, hear them, but I don't know. Like, I can hear a black player story and I can see what the program does for them, but it just feels like, I don't know. It's probably just me. It's the observation that I had over years of watching college sports, but never seeing certain people, certain demographics who I know played football, but then aren't in that next phase. I just, like, have an issue with that. So I'm going to keep reaching out to people and hopefully get educated on the subject even further. So, yeah, there's that. That's just me. And I know Pete's laughing, but I know you've thought about it too. How you gonna say not once off the mic in front of the fucking mic like no one heard you, my guy? Like, shut up. Stupid.
Woo! Anyways.
They heard you whispering the whole time, you dumb motherfucker. Like, really?
Anyways.
I'm not trying to be ethnocentric, but for real, it's just like something I've always thought about. Like, why don't we see more Polynesian, like, color commentators and like shit in those positions to where like I just see like a white dude in it.
Can you just not say it? Let me not be ethnocentric because it's like really personal news. Like you don't need to say I'm not being ethnocentric. Nobody's thinking you're being ethnic centric.
I don't want to come off ignorant when I'm trying to say something like intellectual. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to sound stupid saying something. Acknowledging
that's
something
like the person who raises their hand and is like, "Oh,
I don't want to ask a stupid question.
This might be a stupid question." It's like, bro, yeah, then just fucking ask it or don't. Like, either say your comment or don't. Like, if you're gonna be an intellectual, you saying that doesn't make you feel more intellectual. It just makes you feel like more.
Like I don't want to come off like a dick when I say this, and then don't be a dick when you say it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's weird how we self-censor ourselves when we don't have to, but yeah.
Exactly.
My heart's in the right place. Y'all know what I meant.
Yep. And you got a big enough heart for both of us, so that's what really matters. But yeah,
I feel
man.
like that was a fat joke, but I'm going to let it go.
No, it really wasn't. You do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyway, so with that, I think the thing that I just really want to talk about, and we already kind of talked about it, but, this past week, we buried my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, my grandma Isabel. So shout out to her. Fortunately, since things have been opening up a little bit more, the funeral went from 10 people to 50, and we were still social distancing and had gloves and all that sort of stuff. But if anything, if any, like, I don't know, man, people are going to bars and not caring and doing all that shit. So I don't want to feel bad about actually, honoring somebody's death. But yeah, besides that, we had a little get together afterwards, celebrate her life, again, trying to social distance, but just as much as we could, had quite a few drinks and all that comes with that. But the only thing that I wanted to say is just, and we've talked about it on this podcast many times, but I'll just say this, generational gap is real. And, I think people have to acknowledge that. And I think in order for that, people to acknowledge that, you got to be willing to have difficult conversations that you're not comfortable or used to or didn't have growing up because, well, yeah, that's why we're having them now, because you didn't have them when we were growing up. So I think this is a moment, for the older generation to really understand what's going on, because like as much as we want to, cancel people and, expose racists and get them the fuck out of here, we also don't want people who aren't racist and aren't that way to come off that way. But if you're not taking the time to have those conversations and to learn and to be more open-minded and change, then there's no saving you in the future. Like, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. And, the same thing goes with the future generation, which is going to be even more informed and even more outspoken than quote-unquote millennials. So there's another territory that comes with that, in the fact that, it's also on us and on the older generation to teach them what comes with that privilege. Like, yes, you have the privilege of being more connected and understanding things maybe more so than anybody else. But there's also a downside of that, and we've talked about that on this podcast many times, being hyper fucking woke and the bad things that come with that. So it's all about balance, and the only way you achieve that balance is by having tough conversations and being honest and open. And if you're not ready for that, then the future is going to be a hard wake-up call for you, because you can't, in today's world, it's no longer enough to just be an enabler. Like, even if you're not racist, even if you have black friends or black family or whatever, being idle, being an enabler, like, it's not going to cut it anymore in 2020. So That's all I want to say. Shout out to the PG for stopping in. 6-man aim for me for a few minutes and staying a lot longer. He had to bounce out. He didn't get to say goodbye because Bob was talking. But shout out to him. Shout out to Courtside. And shout out to FPC Radio. Shout out to Air Squad affiliates. Shout out to the Good News Sport. Shout out to the Good News. And shout out to everybody who fucks with us. Shout out to Bob Garcia. Shout out to your favorite podcast app where you can find this podcast, or touchdownswithtangents.com if you want to go there. TDs_tangents on IG and Twitter. And yeah, man, that's about it.
And yeah, shout out to all the people who maybe aren't really big football fans, but they either like our chemistry or they learn something from our conversations, because that's actually really dope too. Like that's times where, like, if I'm at a tailgate and like I'm talking to somebody and they don't give a shit about the game and maybe I don't, and you're having just a human dialogue with somebody, like, that's really refreshing. So try to have more of that with the people in your life this week. And if something we said on this podcast pisses you off, he's Pete certified. I'm at Ozo Grande. And we both can fight, so don't pull up with no bullshit. We love you. Good night. Especially, yeah. Don't pull up on the Polynesians with bullshit, because that's like fighting Optimus Prime and then getting hit by a fucking car. Like you don't want to just fight a car. You're gonna lose. Shout out to the Polynesian community, for real. I feel like y'all don't really get enough love, representation out there. So anyway, we out.